2 people went to that island with me. Neither of them came back the same. And the worst part? It already knows you're listening. I need you to understand something before I start. I am not the kind of person who believes in things I cannot explain. I am logical, grounded, practical, or I was. What happened on Varen Island didn't break me all at once. It worked quietly, the way water gets into the foundation of a house. Silent, invisible, until one day the whole floor gives way. 2 people I brought to that island are gone. Not dead, just unreachable, like something changed the channel they were on, and I no longer have the signal. I have never told this story in full. I'm telling it now. The trip was my friend Marcus's idea. He was obsessed with forgotten places, locations erased from maps. He'd been researching Varen Island for almost a year, a small island off the northern coast, used as a meteorological research station in the 1950s, abandoned in 1962. No residents since, no infrastructure, nothing but forest, and an old concrete building, and whatever had been left behind. Marcus got permission for 4 days. He called it an adventure. There were 5 of us. Marcus, his girlfriend Diane, my coworker Tom, a friend named Leah, and me. We crossed on a gray morning. As we got close to the island, I noticed there were no birds, not one, no sound from the tree line, no wind in the branches. The island was completely still. I almost said something, but someone laughed at a joke, and the moment passed. I think about that moment every day, that moment when I almost said something and didn't. The first day was fine, almost peaceful. Then the first night came. Deep in the middle of it, I woke up. No sound, no reason. My eyes just opened, and then I heard it. A tone, not music, not a voice. One low, sustained note. Felt more in the chest than in the ears. It stopped, then it came back. Slightly different, like something tuning itself, like something finding its range. I sat up, and Leah's cot was empty. I went outside. The cold hit immediately. Too cold for the season. Leah, my voice didn't echo. It didn't carry sound the same way. Then, a flashlight beam from the trees. Leah, walking back toward me, calm, unhurried. Where were you? I asked. She looked at me, then looked back at the trees she'd come from. I heard something, she said, like a voice. Far away. What did it say? She was quiet for a long moment. I don't know, she said, but it knew my name. We went back inside. I did not sleep again. The tone came back 3 more times before sunrise, each time slightly different, like a signal going through channels, like something deciding which frequency travels the furthest. Second day, Marcus found a secondary building in the interior. Old, rusted, sealed shut since 1962. Inside, old instruments, weather equipment, dust on everything, and on one bench, a reel-to-reel tape recorder, perfectly intact, untouched, as if someone had just stepped away from it. There were tapes on the shelf above it, most labeled with just dates and numbers, but the last one, do not play, and below that, in different handwriting, fresher ink, in a room that had been locked since 1962, still active. Someone had been inside that building. Recently, they had written 2 words and left. I looked at Tom. He looked at me. Neither of us said what we were thinking. That afternoon, Marcus went back to the building alone. He was gone for 3 hours. When he came back, he was different. Not violently, not dramatically, just wrong. He was still. Marcus was never still. He sat on his cot, said nothing, ate nothing, fell asleep before 8. Diane sat watching him. I sat with her. She said very quietly, he was different when he came back. You saw it. I had seen it. He's tired, I said. She looked at me for a long moment. Then she nodded, but she didn't believe it, and neither did I. That night, the second night, my radio crackled. Static, then silence. Then, a voice, not one of us. I can't tell you what language it was. It wasn't language exactly. It was a pattern of sounds. 3 syllables. Pause. 3 syllables. Pause. Over and over. Coming through the static like something that had been transmitting for a very long time and had finally found a receiver. I pressed transmit. Hello? Silence. Then a whisper, not through the radio, behind me. right behind me, in the room. I turned around. Something moved in the doorway. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was in the room or just outside it. I sat completely still. I did not breathe. I did not call out. For 7 seconds, I counted them. There was nothing. Then the radio crackled once more, and the whisper came again. This time, I heard it clearly. It said my name. I turned the radio off. I sat on the edge of my cot until morning. I did not move. I did not sleep. I watched the doorway until the light came. Nothing came through it, but I kept thinking, whatever was in that corridor, it had been standing there listening to us the entire time, and it had learned our names. Third night, the tone was back. Stronger. In the teeth now. In the back of the eyes. I heard Marcus get up, moving quietly. Too quietly. Like someone who doesn't want to be followed. I followed him anyway. He led me into the interior, down the eastern trail, into a clearing, circular, the grass cropped short, maintained, while everything else on the island was wild and overgrown. Marcus stood in the center, flashlight off, in complete darkness, not moving. I stood at the tree line, watching, and then across the clearing, at the opposite tree line, something was standing there. I couldn't make it out clearly, human in shape. Very still, but not looking at Marcus, looking at me. I cannot explain how I knew. There was no face visible, no eyes I could see, but the certainty was animal, old. The part of the brain that has no words, only the message, you have been found. The tone shifted, a sharp jump in frequency, and Marcus made a sound, not a word, not a scream. A low, resonant sound, deliberate, like an answer being given. I ran. At 4:20 in the morning, Marcus walked through the door. Diane rushed to him. He let her hold him. He did not hold her back. He looked at each of us. Steady, patient, certain. Then he said, I need you to hear it. His voice was technically correct. Same words, same cadence. But something was missing from it. The way a recording of someone is wrong. Even when it's perfect, something that makes it theirs wasn't there anymore. The frequency, he said, it's been trying to reach us since we arrived. It only wants us to listen. He lay down, closed his eyes, asleep in seconds. We left the next morning. As we pulled away from the island, I looked back at the tree line one last time. It was still there. Same spot, same shape, not shrinking as the boat moved. Not getting smaller with the distance, as if distance was not something that applied to it. Marcus stopped answering calls 2 weeks after we got home. Diane told me he'd been waking up every night at 3 a.m., standing at the window, not looking at anything, just out. When she asked what he was doing, he said, listening. He moved out not long after. She doesn't know where. Leah told me, before she stopped responding, that the tone never went away, not the memory. The actual sound, every night, just below the edge of hearing. She said she'd started going to the window. She laughed when she told me. The kind of laugh that is actually a question, someone asking you to tell them it's nothing. I told her to see a doctor. She said she would. That was the last thing she ever said to me. I moved apartments after the island. I sleep with white noise now, so I don't have to hear the silence, because I know what lives in the silence. I know because some nights, even through the white noise, I can still feel it, that low vibration in the chest, in the teeth. And some nights I get up and I go to the window and I look out at the street and I tell myself, there is nothing there. I keep thinking about that note. Someone was in that sealed building. Recently, they wrote 2 words and left. I want to believe they left. Marcus's last known location, Full Guard Marina. Signed log, 11th of this month. Destination, unspecified. It fades. One more line. Different font, as if added by someone else. The island does not appear on current maritime charts. Black. I don't know what was on that island. I don't know what stood in that clearing. What I know is this. Some things don't need to be searched for. Some frequencies are already broadcasting. Right now, tonight, below the edge of what you can hear. They are patient. They have always been patient. They don't need you to go anywhere. They don't need you to do anything. They just need one moment of silence. One night when you lie still and the room is quiet, and without meaning to, you listen. Because the moment you hear it, you are already tuned in, and it has been waiting a very long time for you. If this reached you tonight, I'm glad you stayed. You're watching Darkness Frequency. There are more stories where this came from, and some of them are worse. If you want to hear more, subscribe and keep the lights on.